If you're thinking about buying your first fishing boat in 2026, there's one thing you should know right away. Most first-time buyers make the same mistakes. They buy a boat that's too big, too expensive, or not designed for the type of fishing they actually plan to do. In this video, we're going to break down a complete beginner's guide to buying a fishing boat, covering everything you need to know before you spend your money. We'll talk about boat types, sizes, engines, hidden cost, and the biggest mistakes first-timers make so you can avoid them. If you're serious about buying your first fishing boat, this guide will help you make a smart decision. My name is Dylan, and let's get right into this video. So the first thing beginners need to understand is that not all fishing boats are built for the same purpose. Different hull designs are built for different environments. For example, center console boats are one of the most popular choices because they're versatile. They can handle inshore fishing, nearshore fishing, and even offshore fishing trips depending on the size of the boat. Then you have bay boats, which are designed for shallow water fishing in bays and coastal areas. These boats typically have a shallower draft and wide casting decks. Now another category is flats boats, which are built specifically for extremely shallow water. These are great for targeting species like redfish, bonefish, and snook. And then you have offshore fishing boats, which are larger and designed to handle rough ocean conditions when running far from shore. Before you buy anything, you need to be honest with yourself about where you'll actually fish most of the time, because buying an offshore boat when you mainly fish shallow bays can quickly turn into an expensive mistake. Now, one of the biggest mistakes beginners make is buying a boat that's simply too big. Bigger boats look amazing, but they'll also come with bigger cost, more fuel consumption, and a steeper learning curve. For many first-time owners, boats in the 18 to 22 foot range are a great starting point. They're easier to trailer, easier to dock, and are more affordable to operate. Once you move into the 23 to 26 foot range, you start getting boats that are capable of running offshore while still being manageable for newer captains. When you start getting into 30 foot boats and larger, you're entering serious offshore territory. These boats are incredible, but they require more experience and of course a larger budget. For most beginners, starting slightly smaller than you think you need is usually the smarter move. You can always upgrade later once you gain experience on the water. Another big decision when you're buying your first fishing boat is whether you should buy a used boat or a new boat. New boats obviously come with advantages like warranties, updated electronics, and the ability to customize options. But they also come with the biggest downside, depreciation. Just like cars, many new boats lose a significant portion of their value within the first few years. Used boats, on the other hand, can offer tremendous value if they've been properly maintained. Many experienced boaters actually recommend buying a slightly used boat for your first purchase because it allows you to learn without taking the biggest depreciation hit. However, when buying used, inspections become extremely important. Now, the engine is the heart of your boat, and reliability should always be your top priority. Most fishing boats today run outboard engines from manufacturers like Yamaha, Mercury, and of course Suzuki. For smaller boats, a single engine setup is extremely common and perfectly reliable. Once you move into larger offshore boats, you start seeing twin engine setups, which is always a great backup plan in case one engine fails offshore. When looking at a used boat, always check engine hours, service history, and maintenance records. An engine that has been properly maintained can last thousands of hours, but engines that aren't maintained correctly can become expensive problems extremely fast. Now, one of the biggest surprises for first-time boat owners is the number of ongoing costs that come with the boat ownership. Buying the boat is only the beginning. You'll also need to budget for things like fuel, insurance, maintenance, docking or storage fees, boat cleaning, electronic upgrades, and fishing gear. Fuel alone can become a significant cost depending on how far you plan to run offshore. A smart rule for beginners is to leave extra room in your budget so these costs don't catch you off guard when you buy your first fishing boat. Now, another factor that many beginners overlook is hull design. The hull is what determines how a boat handles waves and rough water. Deep V hulls are common on offshore boats because they cut through waves more smoothly. Flatter hull designs are more common on bay boats and flat boats because they allow the boat to run in that shallow, skinny water. Neither design is better than the other, they're simply built for different environments. Understanding how hull design affects ride quality will help you choose the right boat for where you plan to fish. And if you guys want to check out our daily fishing content, go to our Instagram at barjacksfishing. Now another thing is that brand reputation matters a lot in the boating world. Established manufacturers have years, sometimes decades of experience building reliable hulls. Some well-known fishing boat brands include companies like Boston Whaler, Grady White, Regulator, Contender, Yellowfin, and CV. These companies have built strong reputations for quality construction and long-term durability. And honestly, when you buy from a respected brand, it can also help protect your resale value if you ever decide to upgrade later. Now, before buying any boat, especially a used one, make sure you guys do a sea trial. This means taking the boat out on the water to see how it performs. During the sea trial, pay attention to how it handles waves, how the boat accelerates, how stable it feels, and how the engine performs. Sometimes boats that look great on land can feel completely different once you're actually on the water. A sea trial gives you a chance to experience the boat before committing to this purchase. Now, if you're buying a used boat, hiring a marine surveyor is one of the smartest things you can actually do. A professional survey can reveal structural issues, hidden damage, or engine problems that might not be visible during a simple walkthrough. Think of it like getting a home inspection before buying a house. Spending a few $100s on a survey could save you thousands in unexpected repairs later. Now, the final piece of advice for beginners is to start simple. You don't need the biggest boat, the most expensive electronics, or triple engines to enjoy fishing on the water. Some of the best days happen on small, simple boats. The most important thing is gaining experience, learning how to operate safely, navigate properly, and understand conditions. Once you build those skills, upgrading your boat later becomes much easier. Buying your first fishing boat is an exciting step, but making a smart decision will save you money and frustration in the long run. Take your time, do your research, and choose a boat that fits the way you actually plan to fish. If you guys have any questions on a boat you're shopping, just let us know in the comments. We hope you guys enjoyed this boat guide, and we'll see you in the next Barjack's Tackle video.